Welcome today. I'm Emma Davis from veterinarycareers.com.au, and it's my absolute pleasure today to introduce you guys to Kay Irvine from the UK. Kay is a veterinary business coach, and she has worked for one of the leading UK consultancies in business coaching, and has a long history of consulting in the vet world and also in other realms of business as well. And she is a fantastic lady, and I've been in contact with her for the last year and a half, I think now, Kay. And yeah, it's my great pleasure to introduce you and to have we're going to interview Kay today and learn all about her career in the veterinary world in particular, and the messages she's got for us. So welcome.
Hello everybody, hi. Hi Emma.
Hello. So Kay, we were talking before about your career. It's been really interesting, and you've ended up working with vets and vet businesses, but tell me a bit about how you got there and your path in your career.
I started off as a military driving instructor, which is completely random, but I'll tell you what, you learn more about strategy doing that sort of thing. The military, the meaning of the word strategy is the art of the general. So it actually comes from the armed forces. And I found that when I moved into the business world, it wasn't that different actually from being, because I was in bomb disposal for a while as well.
Oh, really? It's not different.
Yeah.
Gosh.
A bit more Private Benjamin than Lara Croft, unfortunately. But yeah, so I've always sort of like thrown myself into the unknown and enjoyed the challenge of just seeing what happens. But it did give me a good foundation for when I went into the business world, starting off as a PR consultant and promotions, marketing, leading into strategy. And I did about 20 years or so of different projects and all sorts of things, ran a business with my second husband, and just had a bit of a flair for thinking on my feet. But I used to do a lot of training on knowing your customer, and thinking about it. That was in the days pre-internet. So we had to try and get in the newspapers that the customer was reading. We had to do all sorts of things. I was one of the first people to do email marketing when email started. But I was one of the first people to stop doing all the text and do a picture and a headline.
Yeah.
You know, so with me, it's all about impact, getting the message across quickly, and stuff like that. So anyway, after 20 years of helping people make money that I didn't really care about that much because my heart wasn't in it, I thought, well, I love animals. I've had horses, you know, I really like the animal world. I'd like to specialize in veterinary. So I just thought, okay, let's take all these skills and all this experience and see what I can do with the veterinary world. And then I thought, well, the vets seem to be a bit different to normal businesses. So
that's what I was going to ask. How is vet different? Like, what did you find when you got there after so long of business?
Yeah, and you can apply business principles to virtually any business, but with the vets it seemed to be more to me like an A&E situation in a hospital. You've got all this chaos and you never know what's going to happen, and you've got emotional customers, and everything was enhanced from the businesses that I was used to working with, like printing companies and you know, general sort of like businesses, and I've been doing a lot of training over the years as well. But anyway, I went and got a job as a receptionist in a corporate vet, because I thought the only way it's that army mentality. If you need to understand something, infiltrate.
Yeah. Get in there and just
get in there. Yeah. Get in there and pick it up. So that's what I did. And I was only planning on staying a few months, but I absolutely loved it. I just loved being on that front desk. You never knew what was going to happen. You never knew what was going to come in. You had to think on your feet. And absolutely loved it. Ended up staying 4.5, 5 years in that particular job, and putting systems in place, doing the marketing. Gradually it expanded. I wasn't the most popular member of staff because I was more interested in doing the job right than getting on with anybody. But I just wanted to learn as much as I could, and I did the practice administrator course, and I did the ANA and And then basically the plan was to join a consultancy and become a consultant for vets, which is what I did. So I ended up in Swindon, of all places.
Yeah.
Working as a practice development coach.
So then you were coaching like vet businesses, so rather than in a corporate setting, back to small business, or what were you?
So it was working with the independent vets, but it was very useful to have a corporate inside knowledge. But it was really the independent vets that were really struggling with the corporates coming in. And I just thought, no, I want to work with the independents. So I went to the consulting firm, and it was great. I absolutely loved it. And also just the fact that if I could help vets, then I could help animals, but on a much larger scale, you know?
That's kind of why I do what I'm doing too, like to help vets, to help everyone, because the vets are, you know, helping so many people and the animals all the time. So yeah, same kind of thinking. And so tell me, you're a horsey chick, aren't you? You've got horses?
Yeah, I own a horse. He's an American paint cross quarter horse, and I ride Western, bitless, shoeless. I'm a little bit unorthodox at the best of times. And I always loved horses as a kid, completely obsessed. I didn't get my first horse till I was 41, which was an ex-West horse.
That's probably very sensible, I think, as someone who.
Well, yeah, but it was a little bit sudden. But yeah, I decided to get a horse when I was 41, and yeah, I'm just a bit horse mad, really. I think if it's in your blood, it's in your blood, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
And so since I've known you, I've been following your story, and you've actually had a health crisis that you've been managing amazingly. And so correct me if I say it wrong, but as I understand, you were working as a business coach with vets, and then you got really sick around the end of 2016, and then the start of 2016, sorry, yeah, end of 2015, and then you were diagnosed with multiple myeloma. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's huge. And you're just amazing how you're battling through that, and I'm just so impressed by knowing you. I'm so blessed to know you. So
bless you. Thank you.
I'd just love you to share some of that journey with our profession, because you're going through something that's huge, and like what have you been some of the reflections as you go through this? And obviously you've just worked really hard for a long time, and
well, when I got the job with the consulting firm in Swindon, I was commuting, I was lodging, I was working, I was a little bit overstretched, to be honest. And I'd always had a bit of a low immune system. I'd been diagnosed with neutropenia in 2009. I'd always sort of struggled to get through the autumn and winter because of chest infections and colds and things. And I found that December 15, I was really struggling. I was tearful. Energy was all over the place. And I was coughing. The joke in the office was that if Kay's coughing, she's doing too much. Because I was coughing constantly with just these chest infections. And then I got a tumour under my arm. Well, actually, it started off in my eye. I got a tumour in my eyelid, which went on for a while, and then it came out under my arm. And I was feeling just awful. And I did a 2-day course for vets in London with sepsis.
You were training them.
I was training in December 15.
Wow.
And I thought, I'm okay. But I would tell you what, I was running on adrenaline. Because I'm quite a hyper sort of person, I run on adrenaline. So I'd learned over many, many years to perform well, even though I was sick. Yeah. And it was adrenaline that was keeping me going. But unfortunately, I'd crash and burn every so often. And this tumour came out, and I looked awful. I look back now, long dark hair, and my face was just awful. And I just felt sick all the time. So I went into the office one day, and I said to the girls, I've got this lump that's come under my arm. I don't know why. And they said, get to the doctor now, because they're all trained vets, and vet nurses. And I went to the doctor, and it turned out I had sepsis, and I was in hospital for 6 weeks.
Wow.
I nearly died. and it was the most horrendous time. And then they kept thinking, why is this otherwise non-smoking, non-drinking, healthy size 10 woman so ill? Kept looking, and they found that it was cancer.
Wow.
But I had no cancer in the family, so it was a real big shock.
Yeah, it's massive. And so that was start of 2016. So this has been a big thing. What's it been like, this journey for you?
Well, when I was diagnosed, because I'm pretty good at dealing with trauma, because I've had a fair amount of it in my time, I just went, oh, okay. And the first words I said were, it's a gift. And my doctor went, sorry, what? And I said, it's a gift. It's a gift from the universe to make me sort myself out, because I know I'm running like this. I'm just, I'm running over time. I'm like a car with the accelerator on all the time.
Yeah.
This is big. This is gonna sort me out. And it's a gift, and I'm gonna be a better person because of it.
Yeah.
And then I walked out. And they were
surprised.
They were all like, what? But the funny thing was, when I was 49, I had a big birthday party when I was 49. It was almost like the pre-50 one. Had a big birthday party, and I got more drunk than I should have done. I had a drink, which I don't normally do.
Yeah.
Very, very drunk, very quickly. So you can imagine, with your blood wrong, it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
But I said to my friend, I said, Kay's not going to last past 50. And he said, what? And I said, no, Kay's not going to last past 50. I said, big is going to happen when I'm 50, and I'm not going to last. I'm not going to be the same person.
No. And there was that.
And I knew.
Yeah. Wow.
I knew before it triggered that something big was going to happen. But anyway,
warning to people not to drink too much alcohol.
Yeah,
they will get messy.
Exactly. Well, considering that I've gone most of my life teetotal, if I do drink, I'm absolutely wrecked. So basically, I walked out, and I went back to the doctor a few days later, and he said, you have to start chemo on Monday. And I said, well, it's Friday. I said, I haven't even had a chance to process this yet. And I said, and I don't want chemo. It's poison. I want to try things the natural way. I want to do things differently. I've been researching it. And he said, no, you've got to have chemo. And I said, no, you've got to give me a chance to try it.
Yeah.
So at that point, the cancer was 40% in my blood. So I tried it for 4 months. And I gave up caffeine, meat, processed food, sugar. I gave up everything. And I was so weak I could hardly move. But the cancer stayed the same, and then it started to drop. But then I ran out of money because I wasn't earning. And I was like, oh, hang on, I need to go back to work. So I took myself back to work, and immediately the cancer shot up. And it ended up at 85% within a couple of months.
Yeah.
And that's where I thought, hang on a minute, this has got to be stress. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I eat well, I'm size 10, I'm fit, I'm healthy, apart from the immune system. This has got to be, and I've come to understand that long-term stress can break the immune system as well.
Yeah.
And getting my identity through work.
Yeah, there's a message in that for vets, isn't there, around the long-term stress, really?
Yeah, exactly. And running on adrenaline all the time, and crisis managing and stuff like that, and just not looking after myself. And had broken my DNA. The DNA had started to give the wrong instruction to the bone marrow to produce cancerous plasma instead of blood. And I was dying. Yeah. I was literally dying. I was that close. I was 85% cancer.
Wow.
15% blood.
Yeah, gosh.
And I carried on working. That's when I agreed to the chemo. And I was having chemo twice a week, and I was still working full time. Wow. Doing all the coaching and the consultancy and stuff. And I was having panic attacks, nosebleed. I was collapsing. Yeah. My digestive system stopped working. I was having the most horrendous side effects, and I was still working.
So why were you working? So what is it that kept you working? Like, was it just money, or was it like, why did you not just back off and look after yourself? What is it about high achieving women that this didn't happen?
Because I didn't know who I was out of work. I'd got my identity through work. And I'd worked for so long to get somewhere, because I left school with virtually no qualifications because I was too busy skiving off. Not that I wasn't capable, I just didn't turn up. And because I just found it understimulating. So I should have gone to grammar school, but I went to the top class in the comprehensive. So I was under challenged. And I didn't go to university or get a degree, and I felt like I needed to try harder than everybody else. And I just sort of worked myself stupid, really. In fact, my boss said to me one day, she said, I know that you would still come to work even if we didn't pay you.
Yeah, wow.
Because you are that devoted to the job. And that was the problem, that I was more devoted to the job than I was looking after myself. I didn't know who I was without work. There's
a message in that too, isn't there? Because some of our veterinary industry would relate to that, because they're just all about the job and they're so tied up in helping, and they are such a help, but they help at the expense of themselves.
Yeah, and my desire to inspire and help people actually nearly killed me, to put it bluntly.
So, so what, looking back at that, what reflections have you got for people that are powering along, hugely invested in their working identity, and who maybe can resonate with what we're talking about, but who haven't got health issues yet? What would you say to them? What?
Well, it either learn to pace yourself, or things could go the way that they've gone for me. I'm like a racehorse on the track that never stopped, and then literally crashed and burned. And I crashed and burned every so often with the flu and the chest infections and all that. And the universe was giving me hints, and I wasn't listening. And eventually I got a kick up the arse.
In the coaching world, in my coaching world, they say you get tickled by a feather, and then hit by a brick, like a brick gets dropped on you, and then you get hit by a truck.
I got hit by the truck. And I did feel like I'd been hit by a truck as well. But also, the cancer just made me step it up. Instead of going, okay, I need to look after myself, I just went, no, I can carry on. I'm the high achiever, even with terminal cancer and all these horrendous side effects. I was dragging myself out of bed every morning, and I was bouncing into that office, and I was trying to help the vets that I was working with. But the side effects, oh my God, that I was on 20 steroids a day for 10 months. And I'm hyper already. I was like this. And I haven't got much of a filter between thought and mouth anyway, because I'm just honest. I just say how it is. But I wasn't, and I was doing a week's work in a day, and I was like, yay, look at me, I'm just so superhuman. I literally thought I was superhuman. I thought I was having superpowers because the steroids were sending me off the scale. And I didn't think there was a problem at all. I was just doing my job, but everybody around me was like, my God, this woman is impossible to work with.
I think I've been a bit like that lately with my business, like people trying to keep up with me, and then and then actually something happened the other day, and I realized that I could have sworn it was just something simple in my kitchen. I could have sworn that I did this, and like I didn't really have a clear picture of it, but I kind of had a memory of it, and misplaced something, and then never found it for 2 weeks. And I'm like, that's so strange. And then realized that I hadn't misplaced it, and it was there. And in fact, the memory, like I was moving so fast through life that the memory wasn't actually real. Like I'd made something up because I was skipping through so fast. And you and I are very similar personalities, I think. So if we're on fast forward, then we're whipping around doing lots of things. And it's very easy to stop looking after yourself and just to focus outwardly and look after everybody else. But that was,
you attract accidents, you attract illnesses, you attract bad luck, because you're moving so fast, you're not making proper decisions a lot of the time. and I've got bruises everywhere because of knocking into things, you know, and just sort of, but the slower I go, the slower I force myself to go, the more chilled I am, the more discerning I am.
So pacing, tell me about how you've learned to do this pacing. You're talking about vets should pace themselves. What does that mean?
Well, I believe that most relationships suffer because of a difference in pace. Having been married to a man that was very slowly paced and I was very fast paced, my frustration with people who are slow is quite large. So when I was on the steroids, I was even faster.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen this in other work relationships and all sorts of things, is if you get people working together where some people are fast paced and some people are slow paced, there's a lot of friction that can cause. And if you don't understand that person, that slow person, or that person that looks after themselves isn't going to become fast paced no matter how hard you have a go at them or how hard you push them. That's their pace. And if you're naturally fast paced, you're naturally going to ramp up if something exciting happens, or, you know, if anything happened, I just step it up. If anything, if I got given more work than I could handle, I wouldn't say, I'm sorry, I can't do that, because I'd go, oh, okay, yes, I've got to find a way to do that.
I know.
And I'd constantly take on more and more and more and not be able to say no. But pushing other people who are slower paced and then showing off about the fact that you don't look after yourself and you're achieving a million things at once. You know, multitasking, what's that all about? No. Multitasking's a bad thing. Everybody thinks it's a good thing.
I know. We've been trained into thinking it was a good thing, but it's a bit of a trick, isn't it?
Do one thing. Just do one thing and do it properly. Don't do 100 things and do them adequately or badly.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to learn that one. Because
so cultural work. Yeah, this whole work thing, the whole identity through work, the whole multitasking, the whole women must be, you know, 100% at work and 100% at home. You know what I mean? Like, it's just such impossibilities, but it's like this cultural norm that's been created. And we're trying to live into something that doesn't actually exist and can't actually exist. And then by the time you put in a no filter, just look after everybody else and forget yourself, then, you know, it's a recipe to crash and burn and to feel bad, like to be giving 140% of yourself and still feel not enough.
Yeah. And also don't forget that when you're giving too much of yourself, the second you do a little bit less, everybody criticizes. And you're still doing twice as much as everybody else. And I was always very good at, you know, you get these people that are really good at doing nothing, but they look busy. I'm the other way around. I'm really, really busy, but I look like I'm doing nothing. Because I'm having too much fun. So, you know, you've got all these different things. But I think what's really important is that if we have unrealistic expectations of ourselves, then we assume that everybody else has those unrealistic expectations and we try and live up to that. And it's all, the whole of the work world seems to me, not just vets. It's all based on misunderstandings. And false expectations.
And then I think profits from it is the person, the CEO at the top might profit from it. But
exactly. And I used to say to my clients, if you're not managing your customers' expectations and you're not managing your team as a leader, then you are making a bit of a nightmare for yourself. You know. And so that's what I think I enjoyed most about working with vets, was the fact that I could relate to them and they could relate to me, and that I could help them slow down. But the thing is that I was coaching other people to do this: slow down, do things better, look after yourself, manage your teams. I was doing all this stuff with them, and I wasn't doing it myself.
That's been my struggle in coaching, is to be authentic to what I'm training, and I'll pull myself up on it all the time, because I'll be like, and I'll say to my people I'm coaching, I'm like, I think I just said that to myself as well, because we have a natural behaviors, and when we're under pressure, that comes back out, and the rest of the time we're just managing it. And so it's about that. And I think that's the pacing that you're talking about, is putting the things in place to accept that you're not going to get 80 things done today, but do the 3 things that you're going to get done, do them really well. And then be kind to yourself and look after yourself for some of the day as well.
And it's not a crime to take a break. And you know, I used to eat my lunch at my desk because I thought, oh no, that's a weakness to take a break. Oh, I can't do that. That shows weakness. And yet the guy who used to come in at 9, used to leave at 5, and he didn't give a damn. He was never criticised. He just used to go through his work day as best he could to look after himself, and he didn't have any problems, didn't have any stress, and he retired, and he's now traveling the world having a lovely time.
That's what it looks like anyway, but yes, I guess if people manage themselves, yeah.
And I used to look at that as a weakness. I'd be like, God, he's not trying hard enough, you know. So this need to achieve is a need to please and a need to achieve are a bad combination.
Yeah,
my book.
I think the veterinary industry is rife with those people, because that's me in a nutshell. That was who I've always been, and who I have to manage not to be, because that's my default, is to care for other people, to, you know, we both have brilliant ideas all the time, to chase down great ideas, make them happen, build people up. And that's all fine as long as it's not at my expense. And I think we're the same. We just need to manage it. Okay.
And I think that's the vets as well. You know, I think that the veterinary industry is full of high achieving, you know, people who really do care.
They really do. Yeah.
They look after themselves.
Okay, we're getting short on time. Have you got a last message to your vets and your? We look forward to keeping in touch with you, and we'll have a bit of a session online, so if people want to reach out and ask you questions.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. The message is really, you're not alone. You probably, I knew a vet once who, if things got overwhelming, there were too many people in the waiting room, and he was getting stressed. He'd take one of the dogs for a walk and go home for a cup of tea and not come back. You know. And there's so much there's so much that we think that isn't correct, and I think that if you can get a coach who's going to help you who's going to help you see what's going on, and help you understand where you've got these patterns running and you don't realize, it can save your life. This isn't just about work. This isn't just about the success of your business. You know, your practice. This isn't about anything other than this could save your life, your mental health and your physical health.
Yeah, that's huge. Thank you so much. Thank you for showing up for us today.
Pleasure.
Thank you for your sharing your journey. I think you're amazing. You are amazing. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I always say, love your veterinary career, guys. Love your veterinary career. And we'll see you soon, Kay. If you want to message Kay, just message below online and we'll put you in touch. And yeah, that'll be great. All right.
Thank you.
I just